Hello everyone, and welcome to Christians and Chaotics, where a group of us nerdy Christians engage in tabletop shenanigans that may result in the death, birth, or marriage of a PC. My name's Cohen. I'm your dungeon master for this campaign, and today I'm your narrator for this story. A story about a group of adventurers who just wanted to escape the Underdark and ended up saving the realm. This is the story of Out of the Abyss. Our journey begins miles below the surface, deep in the Underdark. In the Drow city of Mesobranzin, a group of Drow traders are gathering their product. Their product of choice? Slaves. They have their slaves held in a cave above the surface, with the massive stalactites that can be used as rooms and cells for their new product. Connected by a series of bridges, we meet a group of prisoners to be sold as slaves for the Drow. As we enter this cave, we meet our first adventurer. Leaned up against the cave wall, a young red dragonborn. Though average height for a dragonborn, he seems rather thin for those of his race. His name, Mosium. Mosium grew up in a peaceful village with a human mother and a dragonborn father. However, after his village was destroyed and he was betrayed by his own neighbors, he was forced to flee and take on a life of crime. Now, with nothing but a tarantula to keep him company, he awaits his unforeseen future. Leaned against the cave wall just a few feet away from him, a young Eladrin elf, his brown hair dirty and mangled, his cloak torn and tattered. He paces back and forth, trying to figure out his next move. This young man is known as Astigan. Astigan seeks to get back to his guild, back to his ways of thieving and simplicity. He twiddles a small bolt that he was able to steal from a drow, hoping to use it as a dagger. Leaned up against the cage, a young wood elf, long blonde hair meeting his shoulders, scratching his head, a look of determination as he glares at the drow soldiers. This young man, a man of royalty and high status, now reduced to a slave. His name, Hyperion, and he seeks to leave this place and find his estrayed brother. Sitting in the other corner of the cave, a young halfling, her red hair messed up and mangled from the adventure, her skirt torn and tattered. She sits there, miming an instrument that she had once loved. She hoped to reunite with her instruments, prove to her family that she is not a failure. As she sits and waits along the cave, a human girl sits next to her. This human, with olive skin and jet black hair, sits next to her and gives a kind smile. Though they do not know each other, they do recognize that they will be with each other for a while. Laid out on the cave floor, a young man with light brown skin and long silver hair, with a scar ran across his face. Though he seems human, his facial features and his bright eyes tell he is of a different heritage. This man, named Peter, seeks to find the men that murdered his father. As Peter laid there, all of a sudden he feels a bump on his leg, as a small myconid with no arms and no face, just a myconid torso and two nub legs, having him only stand at about 2 feet tall, tries to get up, shakes his head a little bit. He looks to the young man named Peter, nods an apology, and walks off. With them in this cave, a large orc leans against the wall, cocky and proud, his bottom jaw in this kind of grin as he aims to be the best of these slaves. The young halfling girl, known as Penelope, sniffs and rubs her nose, saddened by her capture. Though they've only known each other for a few days, the human female, known as Perwin, does her best to comfort them. All of a sudden, the cave door opens up, and a group of drow walk out, with quaggoths snarling, gnashing at their teeth, commanding the slaves to get back. A drow speaks. "Right, dinner time," as he throws a couple of bowls of food off into the ground. Frantically, a group of prisoners begin to rush for the food and take it. The orc pushes people aside, demanding first rights of the food. A few scurry off. A redhead dwarf, who they had known to be Edith, hides in a corner, trying to eat her food. The young wood elf Hyperion calmly walks to a bowl, scoops it up, and begins to drink. The orc approaches Hyperion, towering easily 1.5 feet over him. "Right, I'll be taking that food if you don't mind. You elves don't have to eat much, you're a lot thinner than us orcs." Hyperion, stone-faced and calm, looks up to the orc and says, "Yeah, that's not happening." The orc, irritated by this defiance, grabs the wood elf by the collar. "Oh, you want to be tough, huh? Well, let's see how tough you are." As the orc rears back for a punch, the young wood elf ducks under the punch. Sliding between the orc's legs, he jumps onto the orc, taking the shackles that were wrapped around his wrists, and he begins to choke the orc. An aggressive look in his eyes, seeming to be triggered at the drop of a hat. The orc begins to gargle and cough in pain as his eyes begin to roll into the back of his head and life begins to leave his body. However, before this can happen, the drow break the two up. "All right, break it up, you two. Break it up, break it up." Quaggoth snarling, demanding other prisoners to get back. The orc gags for breath. The wood elf scoops up his bowl, simply nods at the orc, and begins to drink his soup. As soon as he finishes, one of the drow approaches the wood elf and says, "Lilith would like to have a word with you." Confused, the young wood elf hesitantly follows 2 Quaggoths and 2 drow traders out of the cell. The rest of the prisoners begin to discuss with each other. The young dragonborn approaches the Myconid. "Hey, what's your name?" The Myconid looks up to the large dragonborn.
Hey, my name's Stool. How's it going?
"Oh, it's going good. I'm Mosium. Nice to meet you."
Oh, nice to meet you too. How long you been down here, bud?
Mosium scratches his head. "I'm unsure, honestly. It's felt like a week at least."
Yeah, same here.
"You got any idea for how to get out of here?"
No idea, man. I don't have any powers or I'm not very strong, but I am a good fighter.
The young Myconid says as he attempts to throw a amazing spinning kick, but ends up falling on his side. Mosium chuckles. "Well, if I could figure out how to get these shackles off, maybe I can help you."
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool.
"Hey, no talking," one of the drow soldiers says as he bangs on the bars of the door. The orc, now finally able to catch his breath, sits off into the corner, tired and slightly embarrassed by his defeat. The young Eladrin elf bangs on the bars and says, "Hey, I have to go to the bathroom." The drow trader looks to him and says, "Well, you've got plenty of corners." "Yeah, but that's kind of invasion of privacy." "Oh, well, too bad." The drow turns his back and chuckles. Okay, but I'm warning you." The drow does not respond.
Dang it.
Young Astigan says under his breath. Meanwhile, the young human frantically tries to cast a spell as her fingers twirl into a small yellow light and then sputters out. It appears that the shackles on everyone's arms are preventing them from casting any spells as they sit and wait to plan their next move. The young wood elf Hyperion is taken into a different room, made out of a giant stalactite. This room is far nicer than the prison, even nicer than the barracks that the drow sleep in. Pelts and fine jewelry line the walls and floors of this room. Drow servants stand next to a throne, eager to do the bidding of the leader. Draped out along the throne, a female drow sits before them, her silver hair pulled behind her ears as she eats a small grape off of a tray. A human slave sits there holding the tray, slightly shaken out of intimidation. Young Hyperion is thrown at the feet of this drow. She licks her fingers, looks to him, and says, "Oh, you're quite a feisty one, aren't you?" Hyperion says nothing as he stands up. "You know, normally, we'd have to kill you, but not gonna lie, I kinda like you." Once again, Hyperion remains silent. His deep hatred for the drow prevents him from saying any words. "Well, do you know why you're here?" The drow priestess, known as Lilith, gets up from her throne. Picking up her hand crossbow, she approaches the young wood elf. "Darling, you should know something. I get what I want, when I want. I do what I want, when I want." As she holds the crossbow just a few inches from the young wood elf's face, she says, "That means I'm in charge, and no one here has free will." The bolt releases with a quick gust of wind, but it does not hit Hyperion. No, the bolt lands straight in the temple of the unsuspecting human servant. His body slumped over onto the ground. Immediately, 2 drow pick him up and throw him out the side of the room, down into the cave floor. "See, darling, if I wanted to, I could just kill you right here, right now, but I don't want to do that. I want something more." As she gets within inches of the wood elf's face, she grabs him by the jaw and begins to look him over. I like this one. I want to have my way with him, and I want him to be my personal slave. Of course, not now. We need to send him back to the pins to do whatever, but I definitely want him." Hyperion, distraught by the even thought of having to be in the same room as this woman, spits in her face. Wipes the spit from the side of her cheek, grins and says, "Oh yeah, I definitely want this one. You will be mine, and when I'm done with you, I will dispose of you, and I will break you. Take him away." The drow take Hyperion away, out of the room, throw him back into the cell as our adventurers begin planning their escape. You know, I could pick the lock, Astigan says.
Yeah, but you'd probably get spotted by the guard,
Said Stool. Nah, man, I'm super sneaky, I got it.
Okay.
As Astigan approaches the gate and attempts to pick the lock with the crossbow bolt he found. Before he can even get to the gate, 2 drow begin to approach. Quickly, Astigan pulls away the bolt, goes back to the center of the room. Yeah, guys, probably not a good idea. Eventually, they grow tired and decide they will figure out what to do in the morning. As they are resting, footsteps can be heard from outside the cave, followed by the clanking of small metal as a figure approaches the cave. This figure throws some type of metal through the gate, and it lands with a small clanking sound. Confused, Peter approaches this metal piece and sees that they are keys. Standing before him, a wounded, tattered drow soldier with multiple fingers missing on his left hand. A scar running from the top of his forehead all the way down his eye and through his lips. He bears a toothless smile. You guys are trying to get out of here, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, of course we are.
Right, well, any chance I can have to cause Lilith chaos is a benefit for me.
Wait, why are you helping us? Hyperion says.
I'm not helping you. I'm just ruining Lilith's life. Do with this as you wish.
And with that, the wounded drow soldier walks away. Quickly, Hyperion scoops up the keys and darts for the steel gate. He opens the gate and motions for everyone to follow. As they begin to flee, Penelope approaches the orc that Hyperion encountered.
Hey, can you break these for me?
As she holds the chain up to the orc.
I don't know if I want to do that.
Oh, come on, please.
As she holds out her chains, the orc grabs them with both hands, opens his mouth, and bites down on the chains. With a loud clank, the young halfling breaks free of her chains. Ugh! As the orc grunts in pain as a large tusk breaks off of his mouth.
Thank you, you're the best.
As she scurries away, as stealthily as possible, our adventurers begin to make their way from one bridge to the next. However, before they can reach the exit, there's the sound of breaking of wood as Peter has accidentally broken one of the wooden boards on the bridge. At this sound, one of the drow lookouts pulls up a torch.
Hey, what's going on over there?
Hey, they're escaping! Sound the alarm! As lights begin to emanate off of the sides of the outpost, the adventurers see that their exit is blocked. They look to their left. They see there is a waterfall coming off of the side of the cave wall and down into the darkness. However, they know not if the water is deep enough, nor if the drop is low enough to make it. Looking around, they see that they're surrounded by drow as the drow begin to approach both sides of the bridge. Peter looks to the rest of the party, shrugs, and says, "See you guys later," as he jumps into the waterfall, down in the darkness. Hyperion looks around, shrugs, and follows. Without hesitation, the young halfling girl jumps. Immediately after, Mosium scoops up the young Myconid and dives into the waterfall. As the rest of the party follows, they descend into the darkness. The party members' feet meet not stone, but water as they plunge into the edge of the waterfall. Frantically, they get up, seeing at this point that all the torches have lit from the sides of the rooms. Shouting can be heard from all around the city. Frantically, they get up and they begin to run, but they know not where to go. They see 3 cave entrances, one that goes straight, one that goes left, one that goes right. They begin to bicker. Which way should we go? We should go this way.
No, we should go this way.
No, let's go that way.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Finally, Astigan approaches the 3 entrances, covers his eyes, and says,
Eeny?
"Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's go straight," as he darts forward. The rest of the party shrugs and follows after him. Our adventurers continue running for what feels like hours until they feel that they have lost the trail of the drow. Eventually, they come to a cave opening, dimly lit by a luminescent fungus. Exhausted, they all plop down onto the cave floor. They all look to each other and shrug, unsure if this is an alliance or just a means to an end. As they all sit and catch their breath, completely unaware of what was in store for them. That is where we will end today's story. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in next time for our story of Out of the Abyss. Thank you very much for listening to that. If you like that, please feel free to leave us a like, a comment, and feel free to subscribe. We'll be posting these stories on a weekly basis about our journey for Out of the Abyss. If you would like to tune in to our stream, hit us up on Twitch at Christians and Chaotix, link in the description below. You guys are amazing. Thank you for listening, and hope to hear from you guys very soon.